Hello, hello. Good afternoon, everyone. It is time. It is time to get busy. It is time to get busy and to have a good time with all of our stuff. It's Thursday. I love Thursdays. Do you love Thursdays? If you love Thursdays, tell me you love Thursdays. Come on in. Here's to Thursday. And to Thursday night, tonight, is our Take Back Your Life webinar. If you're a part of this community, I can't wait for tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. We are going to be doing this. We are going to be doing this. There's Donna. There's my girl Yvonne and Tammy. Hi, guys. Come on in. Hey, one thing that I thought of is there's Cynthia and Lisa. You know what? What about this idea? Because when you guys share this, I always say when you share, you care. What if you guys shared this as a watch party? I don't know anything about watch parties. Do you know anything about a watch party? Why not? How about a watch party? There's Joanne and Catherine and Deborah and Rebecca. Thursdays are your Fridays. Hi, everyone. Come on in. We got some stuff to talk about. And I'm going to even say that this is sort of the preamble for what's going to be happening later on tonight, because later on tonight is when we are going to be having our Take Back Your Life workshop. That's for everybody who has purchased the Take Back Your Life journal, and it's $15, and you get 100% lifetime access to this PDF. So you can use this for forever and ever, amen. And what we're doing is we're breaking everything down, breaking all of our goals down into 90-day segments so that they are attainable and foreseeable into the future. And we're making them real. It's really going to be a fun time. There's my girl, Jenny. Say hi to Jenny, everyone. Jenny is our community manager. That means that she is everywhere. And she knows because we have so much going on. Who's going to Cabo? Yvonne's going to Cabo and she got into a swimsuit. There you go. Rebecca just shared it as a watch party. I say watch parties are the new thing. Watch parties are the new share. How about everybody share this as a watch party? Let's bring some people in. I noticed we have a whole bunch of new people wanting to come into the sprint, which is great because we start on Monday. There's Diana and Joan. We start on Monday, and I am so excited about this sprint. Listen, if you went off the rails during the holidays, during Thanksgiving, let's fix that, okay? Let's get back and let's fix it. Go to savingdinner.com/sprint. It is free. And when you tell all of your friends, like if you're doing a party, if you're doing a watch party, I don't even know how to do that. If you guys know how to do a watch party, do a watch party. I think it goes up on your I don't know how it works, but anyway, I just think it's a great idea because I've been seeing these lately and people have been having watch parties and I thought, well, why not? A watch party is a great idea. This is how we bring people in. That's what I look at anyway. Okay, so Friday, you guys, tomorrow is our Q&A. And so far, I have one question. One itsy bitsy question. That's crazy. Send me some questions. Go to send your questions into support@savingdinner.com. And all you have to do in the subject line is write question for Leanna on Friday. Real simple. And then it gets onto my docket and I'll answer it for you. I love answering your questions. It's just, to me, it's really, it's a peek inside of what you're thinking about, because we all have questions, don't we, about nutrition or cooking or how to apply certain things. I mean, everything applies to us, doesn't it? Everything nutritionally, we need to figure out and dial in what our specific formula is. It's always personalized. I will say that there are certain things that we do. Patricia said she tried to buy last night to join the webinar, was unsuccessful at purchasing the PDF. Said your email was already taken. Support@savingdinner.com, Patricia, and ask that question there, and Jenny can help you, or Danny, whoever's on today. We will get it taken care of. No worries. Just really want to get everybody going on this thing. And the reason that I wanted to talk today about, excuse me, I have an itchy nose. I want to talk to you today about forgiveness is, I think forgiveness is a big piece of the puzzle. We've talked about the puzzle place before, and the puzzles that we create in our worlds, the puzzle that is, if you're going to use this as the visual, if you will, for your life, a lot of times what's missing are some pieces. And have you ever had this happen where you're sitting down with the family, you've got your puzzle out, you've got your vision board, so to speak, you've got the box top there, so you know what that's supposed to look like. And then you're putting all the pieces out and you're missing a couple of edge pieces. What happens there? What happens is you cannot complete the puzzle. You can't put it together the way that you want to, and some very vital pieces are missing. And if those edges aren't all the way in there, then, you're not going to be able to put the whole thing together, are you? And that's how I feel it is with forgiveness. If we don't have forgiveness in our lives, if we don't give forgiveness and accept forgiveness, on the other hand, we're going to miss the boat. We're going to miss the boat. There was Anne Lamott said this a while ago, and Anne Lamott is, of course, she's written many books, and I've been a big fan of hers forever. And she said, not forgiving someone is like drinking the rat poison and expecting the other person to suffer from it. We are drinking the rat poison ourselves. We're the ones that are suffering. And my mother used to always say that when you don't forgive someone, you allow someone to live in your head rent free. And she didn't make that up, of course, but this unforgiveness portion fills up a great chunk of our lives if we're not careful. Unforgiveness becomes bitterness. It's ugly. And that ugliness can take over and disrupt the good stuff that we're trying to do in our lives. And a lot of times we don't even realize. Now, I just want to say right now on the record, and I'm going to share a story with you too about forgiveness, because I think it's important. Just, I use my own life as an illustration a lot of times. But, here's the thing that I look at. That unforgiveness oftentimes is the big elephant in the room that we have gotten so used to that we don't even recognize that it's there anymore. That it's so much a part of who we are and what we're about that we don't even recognize. And we feel fully justified. And we feel like, because of everything that we have been through, we are justified for being this angry, for being this bitter, and for having this kind of stuff towards someone else. And I'm not going to say for a minute that any of that isn't true. But what I am going to say is that you're drinking rat poison right now. You're drinking rat poison right now, and it is poisoning you and not that other person. Whether that other person is here or whether that other person has passed or whatever. And regardless of what happened, whether it was a big thing or a horrible thing or whatever, at some point, there has to be a reckoning with unforgiveness. Unless you want that unforgiveness to take root into your life and to ruin the beautiful garden of what could be your life. It's like a horrible weed. It's like not being able to walk through the rose garden because it's littered with poison ivy and you can't walk through it without getting just attacked everywhere. Unforgiveness is something that we get so used to that sometimes we don't, like I said, it's like that elephant in the room. We don't even see it anymore. But if you have not forgiven and not moved on and allowed that forgiveness to flow from you, even if you don't even feel like it, it's not a matter of feeling, it's a matter of doing. Sometimes we have to go out of our to-do list needs to become our to-be list. So our to-do list is to forgive this person so that we can be forgiven ourselves and we can have that calm spirit within our souls. You're going to see today when we do when I do our Take Back Your Life, when I do the Take Back Your Life workshop today, The one thing that I have, one quote that I have that's right at the very beginning is, "The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure that you seek." And this could be said, this is a Joseph Campbell quote, by the way, and this can be said about forgiveness. To me, forgiveness is flicking the switch on a very, very dark room and then seeing that it's not as bad as we thought. And I just want to be very clear that forgiveness doesn't clear the other person of wrongdoing at all. That forgiveness isn't for the other person. That forgiveness is for you, so that you can clean and cleanse your own soul, so that you can allow those things to fall away from you, so that your wonderful life has an opportunity to really bloom. Having unforgiveness in your life is poison. And allowing that, because it will fester whether or not you think about it or not. And there's nothing uglier than somebody who is walking around with absolute unforgiveness in their heart. It shows up. And that is never, again, I'm going to go back to this whole thing. It is never giving your blessing or never allowing these things to be okay. It's simply saying to yourself, I am worth more than this horrible incident, this unforgiveness, and this whatever happened. I am worth more than that. And therefore, as I forgive it and forgive the person and the incident and whatever it is that you need to forgive about it, then you are letting it go. We're all susceptible to unforgiveness. Isn't that the truth? We're all susceptible to it. It is a wrong that cannot be fixed. When we look at these things, when you're victimized or some horrible thing is perpetuated upon you, in childhood. I mean, I've talked to women who've been molested and, all kinds of horrible things. And I would also talk to these women who have let go of these things and allowed forgiveness to be in the place of all that horribleness. Do you follow what I'm saying? In my own life, and I'll tell you a story, and you remember when all of this, the Me Too movement was going on and that Harvey Weinstein business was going on and all this sexual impropriety was coming on. Well, when I grew up in the 70s and then later on when I was in the workplace, I remember my mother telling me that this is part and parcel of what people do, that, just be on your best behavior and handle yourself with dignity, but men will make passes and, this is sexual harassment was part of the workplace back then. And she was right. That did happen. And you know what else happened to me? And this is, again, this is back to true confessions of what happened with me and just what my mindset was. So this is in the 80s and I'm in my 20s. I'm dating all kinds of people. And one day we had a bunch of people over to our house. My roommate and I did. And there was people out. We were watching TV or something. We'd come back from being out. We were watching TV and everybody had left except this one guy, and my roommate had gone to bed. Well, he started getting handsy with me and I kept saying, no, no, no. Well, it turned out he ended up pinning me on the floor and he date raped me. And I lived with that for so many years, and I was ashamed of it. And I had such unforgiveness in my heart toward that guy and toward myself because I believed that I was being promiscuous. Well, I had to rearrange the thoughts that I had about what that particular incident was. It wasn't me being promiscuous. I was date raped, for heaven's sakes. And I also had to rearrange and understand that, regardless of what the times were, that was never okay. And I never have to give this guy a pass on that, ever. But what I do need to do is I need to forgive that and forgive that myself, because for 30, 40 years or however long it was, I felt like it was me who was in the wrong. And it wasn't. I was the one who was victimized. I was the one who was victimized. And my forgiveness needed to go toward myself and the way that I had framed this. And my forgiveness needed to go toward that man who did that to me. And I needed to let that go. And I'm going to tell you that when that happened for me, it was a great relief. It was like losing something. It was like losing this burden that I had carried all these years that I never even recognized. I was so used to carrying it. It's sort of like losing weight, you know? You're so used to carrying around those extra 50 pounds. When you lose that 50 pounds, you feel, you know, like you're light as a flower, you know, just super light and just bouncy almost. Unforgiveness holds us hostage to the detriment of all of the negative thoughts that we could ever have. It depresses us. It makes us feel like we're never going to amount to anything. And the negativity and the self-talk is just down, down, down. If someone chooses, if you have to seek somebody's forgiveness, you know, on the other hand, I mean, haven't you had to do that? I have. We have to we're humans and we make mistakes, sometimes huge, sometimes small. There are evil people out there as well who are doing evil things and victimizing children and animals and you know, all whole races of people. This is unfortunately part of what's happening in the world today. But I look at it from the perspective that unforgiveness bleeds into every part of our lives, whether we see it or not. And we have to look at it from the perspective of how do we get it out. Unforgiveness is like, and I wrote about this a while ago, like 3 years ago, it's like a purple sock in a load of white towels with bleach. It bleeds into everything. It bleeds into everything. And it permanently dyes every other aspect of your life. There was a man who, and I read this, it was a Huffington Post article, and it was about this man who had such a time where he just couldn't get over his ex-wife. She had cheated on him. She had, she had left him and absolutely devastated him. He was depressed. He gained weight, everything, this, that, and the other thing. But he just couldn't get over it. And it had just touched every area of his life. It affected the way he worked. And so one day, he was, he worked in some kind of a software company or whatever, and he had to change his password like every, a couple of times a week, because every time he changed his, or a couple of times a month or something. And every time he entered into this particular secure area, he had to enter that password in. And so he had this idea that he's going to forgive his wife. And he would type in, "I forgive her," with, however, that was his password. And after a month of doing this every day and typing in, "I forgive her," he actually did forgive her. And he even ended up having empathy for her. Didn't mean that he put his blessing on what she had done to him, but he was able to find an experience out of it, or get a lesson out of it somehow, and understand that without that empathy and without that forgiveness, he was going to be permanently held captive and hostage by his own unforgiveness. So by doing this, he released himself. Forgiveness isn't for the other person, it's for you. Whether you have to go out and seek forgiveness and ask somebody, and we've talked about this before, not "I'm sorry," because "I'm sorry" is like when you bump into somebody, in a crowded store. It's, "I wronged you. Will you forgive me for X, Y, and Z?" That's how you seek somebody truly from your heart, to ask somebody to forgive you. And whether they do or not, it's not, that's neither here nor there. If you take responsibility for what it is that you did, that's enough. And then on the other hand, if you've been victimized by somebody, especially something that's old and horrible from when you were a child or whatever, and I know that there's horrific stories out there. And I'm not minimizing them. I'm simply telling you that regardless of what it is, that the place that we are as humans is a place of desiring and needing empathy in our lives. And we get this by forgiving others and seeking to get forgiveness for ourselves as well. So we forgive, and then we also offer the forgiveness. It's an amazing thing that what happens, there is a connection, and it becomes suddenly a whole lot less scary. It's what I said in the quote that I just read to you: the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure that you seek. When you offer forgiveness, and when you make it a little bit less, or when you offer forgiveness or need to be forgiven or whatever it is, but the whole idea of forgiveness, and you really broach this with your heart and soul, you turn on the light, and now you can find a treasure. You can find the treasure that you're seeking. And I'm not saying that there's going to be a treasure necessarily in the forgiveness of itself. It's just going to be a release. And it's going to give you the ability to go seek the other things that you want in your life. Because I'm telling you, until you seek this and until you get forgiveness happening in your life, you're going to have moments where you're going to think, what's wrong? Why can't I get past this? Even if you're not constantly replaying this over and over and over in your head. We don't want to live our lives as victims, do we? And being a victim is what some people actively pursue and do every single day. They tell themselves that they're victims. They live a victim's life. They're helpless and hopeless and powerless. We don't want to be pitiful. We want to be powerful, right? That's what Joyce Meyer tells us. We want to be powerful. And to be powerful is to choose the things that are going to build into our lives everything that we want. And if we want empathy from others, then we need to give it out ourselves. If we want love and friendship, then we need to put out friendship and love to others ourselves. And again, somebody who has wronged you horribly doesn't deserve your forgiveness. Somebody who has wronged you horribly in the past and maybe even victimized you doesn't deserve your forgiveness, but you do. That forgiveness so that you can move on with your life. Obstacles are just obstacles, and they can be moved. There's no such thing as an obstacle that can't be moved. I know several people and have spoken with them, both professionally and friends and family and all kinds of stuff, with people who've gone through the unimaginable. But they have chosen a road less traveled to the place of forgiveness so that they could then themselves have a life that they want. And again, we go back to that place. Is this creating the life that I want? Is this creating the vibrant, delicious, wonderful, beautiful life that I want? Holding on to unforgiveness keeps us poisoned against what our whole life could be. It keeps us held back. It keeps us from seeing the beauty of the rest of the world. And we can compartmentalize that. We can take that and put that horrible situation into its proper perspective. There's all kinds of things you can do. There's girlfriends to talk to. There's counselors to see, and clergymen and ministers and pastors. There's prayer, and there's meditation. There's forgiveness. And forgiveness covers all of it. Forgiveness is on top of all of it. And it gives us absolute freedom. It is the keys to those shackles that are on you right now if you haven't forgiven. And I know it's a tough thing. It is a tough thing to do. But it's the bigger thing to do, and it's the best thing to do, and it's the right thing to do. And it opens the door to the life that you want to lead. So I hope that meant something to you, and I hope it helped someone here. Forgiveness is a tough subject, and it is a tough thing to do, especially if you've been horribly wronged. But it is the right thing to do, and I promise you, nobody has ever regretted forgiving someone. This is how we move on. This is how we have empathy in our lives. And this is how we open the doors to love, and this is how we open the doors to a big and vibrant life. I promise you. I promise you. It will never fail you. It will never fail you to be bigger than the situation was. Think about that for a minute. Is that situation going to hold you back for the rest of your life, really? Or are you going to be the victor? Are you going to rise above it? It's never going to be pretty and shiny and beautiful. We can't, make a silk purse out of a sow's ear, can we? And I'm not asking you to do that. All I'm asking you to do is to put it in its proper place, to forgive whatever needs to be forgiven, so that you can move on, so that you can, the cave that you fear you'll enter will show you the golden treasure that's right there. And it's you. It's your life. It's your power. It's your ability to bring into your life all the things that you want. Yvonne says, forgiveness gave me peace. Yes, it does. It gives you peace. You know what else gives you peace? Understanding that you don't have to stay where you are. Understanding that you have the ability to grow. Understanding that the power that you seek is right inside of you. That's your treasure. That's your treasure. And if there's anything that you need to get rid of, if there's anything that that's just awful that's in your heart, you call up a girlfriend. And if you don't have a body clutter buddy, go get it. Go get a body clutter buddy. Body clutter buddies are the best. And sometimes a girlfriend who cares about you is the right person to hear you out. This is what I think. This is what I think. This is what I know. And that unforgiveness will affect every area of your life. That unforgiveness that I had, if you read in Body Clutter, we're talking about, I just got off the phone with my ex-husband, okay? My ex-husband, who we were married for 18 years, and it was a very hard marriage. I forgave him. And now we talk about things for the kids and what have you, but it didn't make it, it wasn't an easy thing. But I had to forgive him. I had to let it go. I had to. I wanted different things in my life. I didn't want to be victimized or having things put obstacles in my life like that. I had what I called in Body Clutter, and in the book when we first wrote Body Clutter, I went up to 237 pounds when we were married. And when we got married, I weighed 125. That's over 100 pounds. What do you think that was all about? It was a fleshy shield. It was to keep him back. And the kind of venom that I had toward him was horrible and bitter and nasty. And when I recognized that I needed to forgive him and I needed to let this go, I've told you a lot of stories about my unforgiveness and how they've, shown up in my life. Unforgiveness shows up in some way. And yes, it will affect your health. It will affect your weight. It'll affect everything. It'll affect the way you see things. It puts blinders on. Unforgiveness is the thing that we need to move out of the way. And I'm going to tell you right now, you have the tools, you have the ability, and you have everything at your fingertips to be able to do this. Everything. And whether or not that person is still alive, if there's somebody that you need to forgive, and even if they're still not alive, write it out. Write out what needs to be said. And you know what? And excuse me, this might tick somebody off. If you need to, tell them to go to hell. You know, tell them like, you did this to me and I just hope you go to hell or whatever. And get the anger out too. And then forgive them. Let it go. Let it go. And watch what happens with that space in your life. You know, it's going to fill up with joy. It's going to fill up with empathy. It's going to fill up and create a bigger life for you, because that unforgiveness is finally out of the way. And I don't know how long you've held on to it, but I know for me that I've held on to a lot of unforgiveness for a lot of years from a lot of people. And it's funny enough, it's been men. You know, there's been a couple of women, but mostly men. My dad, I had to forgive him. My husband, ex-husband, I had to forgive. My date rape, I had to forgive that. I held on to all of it though, and justifiably so. You know, I was vehement that I was right to be holding on to it. But I'm telling you, I let that go and my life changed in huge ways. I have this business now that I wouldn't have had. You know, 19 years ago, I started this business. I let it go. So, the treasure that you seek is right here in your heart. The treasure that you seek, the light that you want in your life, the incredible, boundless energy that you want, a life worthy of living that you look forward to, that's full of vibrancy. This is your path. Forgiveness. So, just remember what our friend Diane von Furstenberg said. If you doubt your power, then you give power to your doubts. Do not doubt your power to forgive. It's there, whether you feel like it or not. It's time to let it all go. And I certainly hope you're going to be part of our Take Back Your Life workshop tonight. If you're going to be a part of our workshop tonight, it's going to be so fantastic. It's $15, you guys, and you get a PDF, and we're going to set your life up for vibrancy for next year. A 2020 like you've never had before. A year that you've never had. I love you guys back. Thank you, Yvonne. That's so sweet. I helped clean your spirit. That's sweet. Amy, I'm glad you found that to be awesome. You know what, you guys? This is the stuff that comes to me because this is what God puts on my heart. So I'm glad he's putting it on your heart too. And I'm sure I've got some unforgiveness that I need to deal with as well. You know, there's always something. We're pieces of work. We're always in the works, aren't we? Now tonight, well, if you're part of my Hot Milk Club, we're doing it today at 2:00 in just a minute. Tonight is 7 p.m. Eastern, and I cannot wait. There is a journal pages that you need to print out. I'm going to take you all the way through this. Be prepared. Come with printouts, come with a pencil and paper, and to take notes as well. And I'm telling you, we are going to get down on it. This is a workshop. I'm not just going to be going blah, 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 like I always do. This is a workshop. You're going to be put to work. So you're going to want to shut down your email, shut down your text. You're going to want to get on it. Because you know what? We're going to create the life that you want to lead for next year. 2020 is our year, sisters. 2020. Peace. I can't wait to see you tonight. And if you don't have it yet, you can get it right now. Go to savingdinner.com/journal. Go get it. Okay? Go get it. And you see Jenny's putting the support link there if you need it. You need to get your homework done. It's not a big deal, and you don't have to fret about it. I just want you to have a starting place. And I can't wait. I'm really excited about this. So I will see you tonight, hopefully. And peace out, guys. This is fun. I'm right there with you. I cannot wait. So listen, share this as a watch party. Why not? If you know some friends that need to work on a little bit of unforgiveness, might be something to share. Love you guys. And I will see you tonight at 7 p.m. Peace.